That's true. That's true.
Okay. Now, how to start this? Jackie, can you see from where you are? Yeah, it's better for me there. Now, before you do anything, the best thing to do is to do, or there are many ways of starting it. I would do a line, a virtually very soft line for the eyebrows, which goes something like that. It's not on a straight line. It's a bended, slightly bended inclination of about 10 degrees there. Then you got the eyes, which follow, eyes down here. And you see the pencil is deliberately being kept like this, sideways, like this, look, sideways. And the nose, it's something like that. So very, 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 very a rough start. And you have the nostril here, and then you have a very straight line for the side of his face. Then you have hair coming through this bunch of hair. But again, see, notice the pencil is always like this, because what they say there in when you actually work on with a pencil like this, is that basically you don't commit with lines. Yes, you're not committing with lines. You're doing a very, very wide approach to any particular line, and it's a lot safer when you go like this and sideways. So I'm doing that. Well, actually, it's more of the direction of that shadow is there, more there. Then you have the cheek. Then you have a bunch of hair, which is like a flower here appearing, like a leaf or flower, or whatever you want to call it. Then you have the hair are going like this, look, sideways. Everything is going sideways. And there's a direction of the shadow from left to right and down. And then you have under his nostril, you have that line down there, and then you have the upper lip and lower lip, and then you have mustache, then you have his beard here, and everything else, all the lines, all the shadows, they move like this, sideways. Everything seems to be on him, everything seems to be that way. You've noticed, it's a bit like he's combed his hair, like this, that's that on this direction, or appears to be. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I see it. Then you have the forehead, bit of a curl here, and the background, which is much darker than the hair itself. And then under the nose you have that dark shadow, which is the background, and the background comes onto his beard. And then you have another line here which aligns in a way, in a very vague way, but it does align with that, look. So a line which is, I'm trying to find correlations now, maybe it's not, but I'm seeing it as a correlated line. So from there till there, so from here till there. And you have the beard, which is coming that way again. So what I've done at the beginning, don't forget, lines for the eyebrow, another line which is parallel to that of the eyes, and that line which is the nostril. Then the nostril itself is a bit dark, or the nose itself is a bit dark. Then you have the bone structure of the nose, it's there, which comes through. It's that I'm talking about, that particular line. Then another sideways line, which is basically the bone structure together with the eyebrow. Then you have the eye cavity, which is here, this one there, and the eyes are barely open. He's giving him, obviously, he's of an old age, or maybe he's not old, it's just the way he looks. He's looking that way, a bit preoccupied or thinking of something. You know, these old philosophers, you know. And then you have these, I don't know if he's a philosopher, I haven't checked it. Pythagoras or philosopher, I need to check this out. There's no name on the picture, so. But I know it's one of the ancients, Greek ancients. Then you have that at the end of the eye, you have a horizontal line which goes, end of the eye, horizontal line goes there, and that gives me where that curl will be, which is there. And everything else it's in a shadow. Shadow like this. Now, why shadow? Because that, look, if you squint your eyes, you will see you have a highlight or lighted area which is illuminated from the sun, or I think it's in a museum. So electrical lighting is illuminated, and you have that light here which is very visibly bright, and then you have everything else comes under a shadow. And notice how I'm using the pencil very wide like this. A half tone in between, half tone, and then now coming and doing those very, very sharp edges here to create that curl feel of the curl, how it feels, how it comes about. And then you have down here, and then the curls themselves like this. Now, when you come to the curls, I had the previous class a lot went and done a line like this, like that, or like this. It doesn't actually work. Now, why? Because it creates like a carving. It's like a sharp-edged knife that they've done a mistake. But if you associate it with a bit of a shadow here, a bit of a, so it's basically, it's a form. It's not only lines, it's a form. It's all that comes towards you, towards us, as a leaf. You can see it's a leaf. You can say, well, it looks more like a leaf to me. Okay, whatever it reminds you, but it's an actual form which exceeds or jumps out of the page. And then you have that hairband here. Now check if that distance is the same. I think I've gone a little bit too close to that line which is there, so I can push that line a bit further back. And again, treat those hair. Oh no, I went too far, too close to the eye. That is not there. It's a bit further there, further back there. So it's there. And leave the forehead for much wider than that. Leave the forehead wider than that. And then obviously come in and do it again. Pencil going that way, pencil moving that way, pencil moving there. And the forehead, slight high forehead, bit of a middle tone on the sides here. And now, don't forget about, there is no hair, there is no, the skull stops at this point, so there is no skull. So we know that the skull continues there, but there is no, you don't have to preoccupy with that. Now, a vertical line right to the eye, vertical line to the eye, then you have where the forehead stops, or appears to stop. There. And background. And let's put the eye, because the eye is disappearing there. So it's slightly, that's higher than that. So that eye is higher, so then it's slightly a few millimeters lower. Keep an eye on the end of the eye here, just going down straight to the nose. So if the nose is here, which it is, in a vertical line, then you have the eye that way. It's the end of the eye. And the eye cavity, which is slightly lower than that. Yes, eye cavity is here. Is that called eye cavity? I think it is called eye cavity.
Socket.
Socket, yes,
yeah.
socket, yes, sorry. Yeah, that's the right word, socket. And you have the bearded man, and then a sharp, dark line. Another one here. There's loads of curls, loads of hair bundled together, and then. So I'm trying, and constantly I'm trying to distinguish the light area with the dark area. Light here with dark area, and again, get them half tones or darker like that, and then you can carve the highlights with the putty rubber. Look. This is basically carving them out, carving the highlights out. Putty rubber. The putty rubber is good because it's soft. You don't have to use the other rubber, the pencil rubber. Putty rubber is better, it's softer. And if you need to make them brighter, then you just insist a bit more and you will have them. And here again, the end of that curl is by the end of his nose. If the nose is here, a curl is there. And then you have the cheekbone here. Cheekbone. That dark shape, that dark line is actually there. It's not here. So I can take that off. So if you want to when you're working on the curls, just don't do them on one line. It's a line in itself, this one, but it's not, first of all, it's not a sharp edge, it's not a sharp line, it's not straight, it's bended. It's kind of it's called curls. Obviously, we're talking about hair, that's why we have all these. And curls here, reappearing, highlight on the lower than the eyebrow, highlight there, and the eye. Then you have the upper eyelid, tear duct, tip of the nose. Let's finish one feature at least. Let's finish the nose, which is, yes, there was a lot of confusion about the nose. Now the nose is here, on everyone, most people. Tear duct, straight line, it's the end of the tear duct, straight line, then you have the end of the nostril. Nostril itself. This is actually cast shadow. It's not moustache, well, except the moustache, you have the cast shadow, which is a dark line there. And then you have the turning of his nose. And it's a kind of like a, I'm not sure if it's called a Roman nose, but you know what I mean. It's kind of like this, just go like that. It protrudes a little bit further out, like that. And the upper lip, moustache, upper lip, and the moustache is here. And there's a tiny light, which is the end of the nostril, where the nostril meets the, becomes part of the cheek. So the nostril becomes cheek. It's this, I'm talking about this tiny highlight there. And the dark of the nostril, if you wish. What I have done here, which I shouldn't, is that the distance between the upper lip and the nose is lower. So I should bring that line lower. You can see it, you feel it when it's something wrong. And then here as well, can you see, Jacob?
Yeah.
A vertical line from the tear duct, down, 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 down. It goes straight to the end of the nose. Tear duct, there. And you have a little bit of highlight there, and the moustache itself, see, dark lines, and I can see, now I'm keeping the pencil like this, I was keeping the pencil like that earlier on, like this. Now this way, I'm keeping it that way, moving it from left to right, like this, because I can see a movement. If you bring the pencil like that, you start taking the same direction as you see in the light coming through. And don't forget, look, the cheekbone becomes beard. There's a line, white line here, look. Cheekbone, or sorry, the cheek itself, not the cheekbone, the cheek itself, look, becomes the beard, look. See, there. Well, it's looking a little bit like
Christmas.
like actually, it reminded me a little bit of Salman Rushdie, you know that man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, you mean no arms, an eye that doesn't work?
Oh my God, yeah. What can you
Not
say?
nice.
What can you say? No. Look. 2 highlights, 2 dark lines, but within the shadow. If I want to emphasize them, look, simplify it, just a bit of a highlight there, that's enough. You don't need to come and do that, as I see there. Well, you can do it, but I think it's unnecessary. And then you have a little bit of shadow, yeah? But again, I'm very tempted not to do that. Not to do it. I mean, consciously, I'm choosing not to go any more details on that one there. You can indicate lines like that, which is basically there, but leave it there. There's not necessary to anything to work on there. You can work on those here. And look what I'm doing. A quick approach, and it gives also, the forehead was too bright earlier on, so what I'm doing, I'm darken the forehead, and I can come now with a putty rubber and do a little bit more of highlights here, which suggests also wrinkles, yes, for his old age. Which I don't know if he's old, but it might not be, but it doesn't matter. Cheekbone, look, tap the putty, tap like this, tap, tap, tap. It's soft, it's good, that's what it needs to be. It's sometimes you need to use it this way to bring highlights, but mostly will be tapping. That's why I prefer the putty rubber, because with the other rubber, look, see how effective that is? Look. Without putting too much pressure. And that, which is that line there, which is, it's not a line. I don't want to do it like that because I create a line, but what I will do, look, you can come there, and you can create a line just by stopping there. You see, just stop there, stop, 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 without doing an actual line. And the mouth, the tip of the mouth that I've moved it down. Then you have the not filter, but that tip of the upper lip moving down like this, and also his moustache. But keep an eye, because he's not a real. I mean, it's not a person; it's a sculpting of a person. So the moustache doesn't need to be too dark. And what I've noticed that my eyes here are too close together. So although they were, sometimes you can see them, you measure them, and you say, well, it should be there, but actually it's not working there. It's not convincing that they're too close. So what I'm thinking is moving that eye a bit further out. There. Not much, just by doing that, and then with that move the upper eyelid, but with the bulb, with the eye, which the spherical part of the eye. Yes, you'll know what I mean. And then around there, around here, and a little bit more of a highlight here. There. Huh? I mean, it's getting there. And then a bit more of nostril here. Just move it up a bit. And that is a very soft, because I'm going to be dark there, but it's a very soft. Well, first of all, how about I do it all and soften the whole thing, because you see it's a soft image. It's like you have a filter and you see me through the filter. So this is why I'm doing it this way. Look. That's another way of doing it. And you can now bring them up with as normally with the putty rubber. Just dab it like this. Dab, 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 dab. There. And wherever we see fit here, to bring up the curls. Well, I don't want to keep it for any longer, because I think you got the gist of it. You got the how to start it. Again, lines for the eyebrows. Another line parallel to that, because they're all tilted at the same direction, and they're normally, obviously, if you see a person at front, eyes are at the same line. But if you see me like this, the eyes are at the same line. If I turn like that, this side drops. Yeah, this side drops because that's the closest to you. This one, that drops a little bit because perspective. So that's the same thing here. That's why we see more, and also we see a bit lower. We see our horizon line is somewhere here. We see the eyebrows a bit further. When you see somebody low, you see their lower part, the jaw. So anyhow, Now, these are issues that they will come up when you start drawing. So you better start drawing, and then we'll talk specifically what's going on there. Okay, let's carry on a little bit with that. Although I do not have darks here on the right hand side of the portrait, I'm choosing to make it darker. Don't know why. It's just a try, give it a go, give it a try. So dark the background, also dark the background, a cross hatching. Now this is a 5H, no that's not good. 5B I thought it was, 6H, oh there was H, B, 4B. B is a soft pencil, H is a hard pencil. So that's the curl that is having here. And curl, dark background. The moustache here, a bit more prominent as the darks coming through. Middle of his lips, a bit darker here. If you've noticed, I've given you the darks or the shadows coming from the right. Now on this, they're coming from the right, and coming from the left on this side. It's not a trick, it's just a tip, just changing direction. I should follow direction that I see there, to be honest, but again, at the end of the day, it's your artwork. Everybody's got his own taste of things. That doesn't mean it's right or wrong, it's just the way of doing it. Well, there are wrong ways of doing it. Of course, that's why we have academic drawings. But in this circumstance, it's not wrong. It's just a different way of approach. And it doesn't actually affect the overall portrait. It affects, okay, it is an effect that I'm giving. It's an effect, a certain effect. But it doesn't affect as in the result, the overall result. So it is an effect of lightening, of darkening, of shadows, halftones, but hopefully it will not affect in a bad way the outcome. I'm not playing with words here, but maybe I'm just confusing myself even more now, and you as well. Okay, so darks on this side, dark on the curl here, and I'm emphasizing that sharp edge, sharp line here, coming through, a bit darker there as well, which emphasizes the curl, but also gives the impression of the skull here, moving that way. And then you have forehead, hair, moustache, and loads of little, actually they're not little, it's full beard he's got there. Okay, and that stops here, so that line there is a certain way of seeing that, and the beards, background, darker here, darker there. I'm trying to keep the darks the closest parts. The closest darks will be where the light illuminates, where there is a huge contrast, which is basically here, 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 here. So you can put edges there, dark edges, but everything else here, especially on the neck, keep it neutral. And by that I mean soft edge dark. There. And this eye. Darken the nose this way. And I think I can come now up with some putty rubber, highlight a few things, and that should be done. Few things, as in few curls here. Well, the most important ones. What I think is the most important, which I think is all these ones here, right by the light. Highlight the nose. Highlight here on the nose. A tiny touch of his bone structure here under the skull. Bone structure. Cheekbone. And squinting my eyes, I can see that I'm gone a little bit too far with that. So I can possibly bring that down a little bit more. Isn't too much to the left, and bring that area here closer to the eyes. And that curl, beautiful curl coming through the eye here. Skull underneath. There. Then you have the tip of the upper lip, lower lip, and keep that area softly merged into the ground, in the background, that area, right hand side of the portrait. It's good to go back and forth, leave it for a while, go back, check how they are blending together, how they're bringing how they basically merge into each other. If the shadows are where they need to be, either too much light, too much highlight, you need less of it, not a lot of highlights, because otherwise it will distract from the features. Yeah. That side, the bearded side, the cheekbone, curls here. And the darker, the curl coming up, curl maybe this way there. Okay, giving him a turn of the skull underneath here, and the eyebrow here. There. A softer merge of the nose and the skin tone here. Well, the skin tone, it's not the skin, you know what I mean, but the merge of the, not a straight line as it is here, but a softer line, if you like. Bring the moustache a bit forward. And then I'm using the direction of the shadow now, completely there. And here's one. darks there. Half tone, some highlights here, but then soften all these areas there so I can emphasize that huge curl here. And that goes up to the eye, so that is right up there in height. And give it a general darker tone there on the curls at the front, and keep those curls here highlighted where the, as I said, where the light illuminates, and then everything else goes and rests, merges into the background. That hook is like a hook here, and a little bit more of a, if I want to be a bit more accurate, you've got that lump here, which is not the ear. It's confused, it looks like the ear, but it's actually not the ear. And a huge here. Darks, darks. And darks here, okay. Here, and there. I don't want to do a lot more than that because I think it's heavy enough as it is, with loads of beards. Oh, sorry, one beard, not any beard. Beard everywhere. So let's keep it under control, the beards, and not making a firepower of beards. And highlight that cheekbone here. There. And that moustache here. Okay, there. Well, he's done. Not a lot darker than that. And you got the curls here, and then just move with the forehead, make it a little bit more intense. Bring that lump of the forehead. Got a stump, and it should be finished. Stump. Yeah. Okay. Get some darks here from the sandpaper. Not too dark. Don't forget, it's a marble sculpting. I've gone already too dark there, but I'll leave it. I like that. Depends. I've gone, yeah, a little bit again, because I don't want to look like a wood carving. You want it to be kept as a marble drawing. Marble sculpting. Okay. And wrinkles here, wrinkles. keep it a bit simple as well, because not too much information is given there. As the head moves upwards, and we don't know where it ends, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, well, I'll leave it. What's the date? Today's the